All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Steve Malzberg Show, and we welcome in now a man who I haven't talked to in quite some time. He is the Secretary of State of the great state of Kansas, and we say hello to Chris Kobach. Hey, Chris, how are you, sir?
Great, Steve. Great to be with you on your show.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but everything worked out for the best. But I got to tell you, I don't have to tell you, it's disturbing to me. I know it's more disturbing to you and your family. Over the weekend, you and your family were not at home. But for some reason, I guess if you want to call them pro-immigration type people, descended on your personal property at your home, on your doorstep, to protest. What was it all about? What were they protesting exactly for?
They were protesting for the amnesty bill in Congress. Not that I have a vote on it, but of course, as you know, I've been involved around the country trying to stop illegal immigration on a variety of fronts. And they were an open borders mob. 4 busloads of people, somewhere between 100 and 200 people, descended on our house and started chanting. And among the things they were chanting, of course, they had "Si se puede" in the list, but they also were chanting "Chris Kobach, come on out." And it was Chris Kobach coming out. We'll see what Kansans are all about. And it was a pretty threatening deal. I saw it all by video. They were, of course, videoing themselves. But thank God my family and I were not there. It was the Father's Day weekend, and we were away. It would have terrified my 4 little children, ages 9, 7, 3, and 1. And my wife is still petrified about this.
I can't imagine. They were all daughters, correct? All the girls?
Yeah. I mean, you know, and kids that age, they have real insecurities and fears about strangers and invaders and people who might come to the home and take them. And think, you know, that's just kind of the kind of fear that goes with that age. It would have absolutely scarred them to see these people descending on the house, chanting, shouting things through a megaphone about their daddy. So anyway, I feel blessed that we weren't there.
No, I know, but I especially the older ones, I would assume probably know something is going on. What is the status of? Is there an investigation? I mean, did they not break the law? Are they allowed to assemble on your doorstep?
No, they're not allowed to assemble on our doorstep. You know, we absolutely have the right to free speech in this country, and protesters, I welcome people. I've been, you know, open borders, liberals have protested me in many situations, and in fact, I think they might have even been protesting when you and I first met one time. But that's fine. Do it in a public place. Do it on a public street at some event. Do it on the Capitol grounds or outside my public office, but not in the private driveway of a private home. There's no right to do that. And it looks like there may be several crimes that they committed, and the county authorities are looking at that.
And they could obviously look at the video, correct?
Yeah, their own video demonstrates pretty clearly that they were there and some of the things they were doing and chanting.
I mean, as Secretary of State, I mean, you would have some sway into that investigation or into pressuring for that investigation to move forward, correct?
Well, I'm not pressuring them. I've just asked the relevant prosecuting authorities to just look into it and see if they agree that multiple laws were broken.
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I look at it, there's multiple crimes that may have been committed, and but I'll let them do their work, and hopefully they'll come to the same conclusion.
Do you have any assurances? I mean, I know the answer is no, but do you have? Let me rephrase it. Do you have any fears that they may come back next week?
No, we have no assurance at all, and this is the thing. There used to be a line in American politics where, people had vigorous, sometimes fierce and angry debate in the public square, but, you at least respect someone's privacy at home. You don't break the law and trespass and threaten them at home. But that line has been crossed. I mean, these are mob intimidation tactics, the kind of things we've seen in the past few years from the SEIU, the kind of things we associate with Chicago thug-style politics.
Well, I'm glad you said that. And we're talking to Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach on the Steve Malzberg Show. Yesterday, I told the folks that you probably would be on. We had technical difficulties. But yesterday I said that this smacks of when the AIG executives and even the low-level people took their bonuses, if you recall, several years ago. And Barack Obama went around the country, calling them greedy and selfish and how dare they. And Barney Frank called for their addresses to be printed in the newspapers. And, in fact, some of the higher-up executives, at least one in Connecticut, did go through what you went through, but only he was home. So I'm so glad you said Chicago street thug politics, because to me, at that point, and I don't know if these people even remember that or not, but I think that changed the rules when Obama basically and Barney Frank basically called for this kind of thing to happen to the AIG people. Did we lose Chris? Oh, man, I was making such a great point. Let's try to get him back real quick. I don't know how that could happen. We had him in the office, right? Not the cell. All right. Hey, maybe somebody cut his phone line. I mean, he's got to be able to shelter his kids from this kind of stuff. And I don't know that he's going to be able to do it. Let's see if we could real quick hook back up. Because like I said this yesterday, I'm really interested to see if he was aware of that with the AIG, if he thought of that with the AIG executives and what Obama said about them at the time, portraying them as greedy and whatnot. Okay, we have Chris back. Chris, I don't know how much you heard of what I said, but I interrupted you when you said Chicago street thug politics, and I pointed out that the AIG executives, did you hear that, all that stuff?
Yeah, I heard that. And, ironically, right when you said technical difficulties, the phone line went dead. So
okay, well.
I think the NSA must be listening to us.
Well, again, what I said was, Barney Frank wanted the addresses of those people printed in the paper. Obama trashed them all over America, calling them greedy and whatnot. And one executive did have his home property invaded by protesters while he was home, one of the big shots at AIG. So I wonder if you thought of that, or if you think that might have something to do with this.
I have thought of that incident, and I do think there are some interesting similarities. I don't know that, the protesters in Kansas, spoke with or communicated with those protesters, but the left in America has gotten to this point where they're doing things that, they just breach the lines of decorum, and they breach the lines of the law. I mean, nobody has a right to protest on anybody else's private property. You can shout with a megaphone all day long in a public square or on the public street, but you cannot bring your megaphone to somebody's front porch and shout at them through the door. And that is the law. Yeah. And that law is one that increasingly the left seems willing to break. And it's really, really scary, because we don't want this to become a country where elected officials are intimidated. We want elected officials to make their decisions based on the public good and based on what their constituents want, not based on intimidation.
All right, Chris, one final question here. I don't know how long you could shelter your kids from this, but to protect them, do you have police protection or anything you want to talk about? And I know you made comments about the Second Amendment, so I'm assuming you're well armed or protected in your own home.
We have asked the police to step up patrols around our house, and they have done so. We're also taking other steps to secure our private property, and in terms of technology we can use to secure the property. But yeah, we have very real fears. I just don't know. I would have never imagined that they would have stooped to these tactics. But it's a very strange. I mean, you think about the whole context of this. They're demanding amnesty. It appears, based on the signs, that many or a large number of the protesters were themselves illegal aliens. So they break our laws coming into this country. Then they break laws against trespassing and other laws, trying to intimidate a public official. And what are they doing this in the name of? Demanding that they be allowed to continue to live illegally in the United States. I mean, it is outrageous.
Chris, if a Secretary of State who was a Democrat of a state, a Secretary of State of a state run by a Democrat, had his property invaded the way yours was by a group of Tea Partiers, that's all we would be hearing about nonstop, 24/7 on every network newscast.
Exactly, and it would be just as wrong if Tea Partiers did.
Sure,
you know
sure.
What? Tea Partiers never will.
They
do
wax exactly right.
They respect the law.
Yep. Yep.
and you're exactly right.
All right, hey Chris, thank you so much. Stay safe, and feel free to